welcome. And at this time, we're going to have our invocation before we start our meeting, and that's going to be led by Jason Kirkman. He's the lead minister at Hall Branch Church of Christ. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the blessing of this day and for the opportunity that we have to serve you and to serve the people of this great county in which we live. As we gather in this place of leadership this evening and responsibility, we invite your presence among us. Grant us wisdom, Lord, to make decisions that honor you and serve the common good. Give us clarity of mind, purity of heart, and unity of spirit as well. Help us to lead with humility, to listen with compassion, and to act with integrity. I pray, dear Lord, that we will apply to our lives as you tell us in the book of Proverbs, not only here this evening, but dear Lord, in our everyday lives, to be quick to listen and slow to speak. May everything that we do here tonight reflect your justice, your mercy, and your truth. Guide our thoughts, our words, and our actions so that through our work that your will may be done. We thank you so much for your Son, Jesus, the opportunity we have for eternal life because of his life, his death, and his resurrection. It's in his most precious and holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Jason. At this time, I'll call our September Board of Commissioners meeting to order. And I'll ask that you stand at this time, and Randy Walker is going to lead in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please face the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let me remind you to cut your smartphone off. It's smart, but it won't cut off by itself, so you're going to have to do it. At this time, we will see if any of the commissioners has a conflict of interest with any of the agenda items. Do I hear any? Hearing none. We'll move into the items for presentation, and the first one is the Service Award presentation. Dolores?
Agenda.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. We have one Beaufort County employee to recognize tonight. We have West Overman with Public Works, who has 5 years of service. And I believe he's here tonight.
Thank you. Well, I've been called out by the vice chairman and also the clerk. We did not approve the agenda, so at this time there is one change in the agenda on the last page, or last item, the closed session. That'll be strictly for property. It will not be for personnel matters. So entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the agenda, raise your right hand. Thank you. We're down to the Aurora Health Clinic update. Brian, you want to introduce that?
Yes, sir, members of the board. Thank you. I don't see Dr. McDuffie, but I do think their architect is here. He is on his way. So how about if it's the pleasure of the board that we, if you move to the next item, and then as soon as they get here, we can come back to that.
That's fine. That's fine.
So I think that one moves me to me. So it's my pleasure to introduce to the board Mr. Keegan Wynn. Keegan works for the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. I think a couple of you may have met him either at the association annual meeting or last week when he first started with us. Keegan is a graduate level student, or he has already graduated with his MPA from Carolina, and he is working for the association as one of their strategic project coordinators. What that means is he is essentially on loan from the association to the county. He'll be with us for a year. First month he's going to be here, he's going to work 3 days a week, and then after that first month he'll be here 2 days a week. He's probably going to do some work in Craven County as well. But this is an opportunity that the association put together to provide master's level graduates the opportunity to learn more about county government, to help counties across the state with resource needs. So we got some projects that he's going to help us with, and I want to introduce you to Keegan and let him say a few words, and if y'all have any questions for him.
Welcome.
Thank you. And thank you for the introduction, Brian. It's a pleasure to be here in front of you tonight, Commissioners. As Brian said, I'm the Strategic Project Coordinator assigned to Beaufort County. And to those of you who are not familiar with the SMS program, it's designed to be a workforce development pipeline from graduate school to county government. So it's a win-win for the county and both the individual in that the individual gets to learn about county government through hands-on projects while also providing extra capacity and a free set of helping hands to the county completely free of charge. A little bit about me. I was born and raised in Alamance County, and I got my undergraduate degree from UNCW. And most recently, I received my Master of Public Administration from UNC Chapel Hill. I also have valuable experience in project management and data analysis from work experience in the city of Kinston and also the town of Hendersonville. And I'm excited to apply that in service of the county. So I'm excited to get started and learn from some of the best public servants in the business here, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you may have them. Thank you.
Assume you can work with Wolfpack fans.
Absolutely. We're hand in hand. Rams and Wolves.
He's in charge of the Carolina fans right here. Thank you very much, and we look forward to working with you and seeing you.
Thank you.
Okay. I can't see him. Do you want to get started, or is he?
Yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. Let's go ahead with the next one.
Okay. All right. This is impacts on local business from Senate Bill 391. Commissioner Richardson and Ms. Rogerson.
Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to come tonight. Once again, my name's Maria Rogerson. My husband and I own a business called Precision Lawn Care and Landscaping. We are a local business. We have a majority of our work is mowing the state highway for the Department of Transportation. We have mowed Beaufort County in previous years, and we hope to mow it in the future, except for the fact of what's happened with Senate Bill 391, and we are unsure of our business future because of that bill. We were blindsided by this bill. It was signed into law at the end of June. We were informed of the bill probably about the second week of July from the Department of Transportation. This was a Senate bill for changes with the Department of Transportation and DMV, just a whole gamut of changes for their department. However, there were portions of this bill that the Department of Transportation were not aware of. And the portion that was hopefully in your agenda, was a section that was concerning mowing in the department for the state. And there were two sentences in that change in the bill that has significantly impacted our business, and we're not sure of the viability of our industry in the future because of that. One of the sentences states, "The Department of Transportation shall not schedule mowing in any right-of-way in which the placement of political signs is permitted under the section during the period prescribed in this subsection." So that means from this point forward, we're not allowed during a mowing election to actually mow when political signs are allowed to be placed in the right-of-way. which is 30 days prior to early voting and 2 weeks after the election. That happens in the primaries in the spring, and that will also happen in the fall election. The second statement in that bill says the department shall not schedule mowing of highway right-of-ways during the month of May. So there'll be absolutely no mowing in the month of May for any state road in the state of North Carolina. The impact of that is, and the reason behind that is our understanding, is the protection of honeybees and certain insects. Apparently, there is a campaign, No Mow May, which that is where that month of May has come in. And I kind of wanted to tell you too, there should have been 2 calendars that were in the package. And looking at yes. Okay, so looking at worst case scenario, which is a year where you have a runoff in the primaries in the spring, currently in our contracts, we can mow 79% of the time of the year. The only times that we are not allowed to mow are on Sundays or holidays. Those are our only restrictions, right? Our mowing season starts early April and ends mid-November, end of November. Right now, with the changes in this law, we will only be able to mow 36% of the time of the year. You could feasibly not see anybody mowing in the state of North Carolina until June 1st, if there's a primary runoff, and you won't see us, we will end mowing in the middle of September, and you won't see anybody until the middle of November mowing. Because if the primaries have a runoff, then we can't mow in January, February, most of March, we can't mow in April. Then the month of May is No Mow May, so we can start mowing June, July, August, and then we end in the middle of September. And I'm just trying to bring this up to your attention because I need you to understand that that means if we have to stop mowing in the middle of August, your roads will start getting mowed if we have to stop in the middle of September, you could feasibly see roads get mowed at the beginning of August, and they will not get mowed again until the middle of November. And if we mow in November, you can feasibly, if there's a runoff, you will not see it get mowed again until the beginning of June. So that being said, looking at the worst case scenarios, first and foremost is the impact to the community. It's safety. We mow grass because of safety, for sight distance, for being able to see wildlife on the side of the road. The vegetation gets tall and you end up having drainage issues. The other issue is we've got concerns is if we're not mowing it, is a homeowner going to go out there and mow it? And then putting them in danger because they're mowing beside the highway when they really shouldn't be. The impacts to our business right now as an industry, there are only 14 contractors that mow the entire state of North Carolina under 72 contracts. And we are all in the same boat where we understand where the fact is some of these contractors are only mowing one county. And if you're going from 8 months to 4 months, we don't know how viable this business is going to be. The expenses are going to be the same next year. We have the same equipment. We have the same insurance. We have the same equipment financed. And so looking at that, our finances are going to be cut in half, if not down to a third of what we normally make. And then the livelihood. How many jobs are going to get cut because of this? Or the viability of us being able to keep people employed. And we employ almost 100 people, if not more, with subcontractors. And the fact that we have built a business where we've tried to keep people working year-round, between 30 and 40 people, because we long arm, which is the brush cutting on the side of the road, which part of that includes cutting grass. So we're fearful that that's not going to be available because of this bill. So we have been trying to inform the public, any county managers that we've worked with, to let them know what the impacts this bill is going to have to the community and to the livelihood of these businesses, because we don't know how we're going to survive next year with the fact that we don't even know if we can keep people employed. Because, I mean, it's one thing to employ somebody from April to November, and they can use like unemployment or have a secondary employment in the winter months because they know that. But now we're trying to see if we can even get somebody hired in June to work to the middle of September and then ask them to come back in the middle of November. And so I just kind of wanted to bring this to your attention. I'm trying to go to other local communities to make them aware of it, and we're just trying to ask for any assistance because the understanding is just kind of waiting for some public outcry. We have reached out to the Board of Transportation member. We've reached out to all the Senate Transportation Committee members. And it's kind of falling on deaf ears. We're not really getting a lot of feedback because the bill originated out of the Senate. We know who the sponsors were, and we've contacted everyone, and we're not really getting any traction, and we're really nervous about next year and our livelihood. So I just kind of want to bring that to the commission's attention.
Is the state association aware of this bill, Brian?
I believe they are, yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, I think this is important for commissioners to have knowledge of this early on, because already I get complaints about not enough road mowing. There are people even under the old system prior to this that didn't think the roads were mowed enough. So now you're gonna see worse conditions along the roads, and in eastern North Carolina with the deer, especially along the roads, you're gonna be having more accidents. So safety's involved here. The bee situation I wasn't aware of, but you do know why this was slipped in. Because a lot of signs got mowed down in the 2026 elections. And whereas in the past, the mowers had respected the signs by going around them or mowing up to them, they went right through them in the last 2024 elections, excuse me. They went right through them in the 2024 elections. I know because I was running. So what you need to do is do some kind of negotiations about the protection of political signs.
Well, and there has always been the request of the contractors to not pick them, right? And I do know that we have been reached out with sometimes volunteers put signs not necessarily within the right-of-way where they're supposed to put them based on the law, correct? So the other thing is there's already items in our contracts that say if we damage private property, we're liable for that. So it's not like if we weren't told that we were responsible that we would have paid for the signs or replaced the signs. So that's already in the contracts. But the issue with this is you're going from mowing 76% of the time of the year to 33%. Like, how are we supposed to survive doing that? So, yeah, I understand that it's in there, but you've got 14 contracts that we have no clue.
Well, I'm in agreement. We're going to have more accidents because of this. I think it was overdone. If the state had wanted to do something, the boys over in the Senate should have read the contract and said, okay, we're going to start telling people to start making claims when our signs are run over.
Right.
But instead, they took the easy political approach of handing out much more punishment than I feel like was necessary.
Commissioner?
And I certainly understand, because I live out in the county and I understand what it's like, especially when the grass gets really, really high. And most of the time, sometimes you can see those little eyes in the top of the grass, but a lot of times you cannot. But I would make this suggestion. Now, with me doing the political process, I always find places to hide signs on the right-of-way, because if you got a two-pronged sign, you set your sign between the two posts. It will not get mowed. I mean, because they got to mow through the sign. And then the other thing I try to tell people is find out when they're cutting in specific areas, and after they cut, place your signs out then. And my suggestion to you on this is candidates who are running, let them know your mowing schedule, and that should help them. They should not punish you for doing what you're paid to do. So that's my suggestion, that you do it that way. And people should be more careful with those signs, because most people prior to the election, they place them down and they never go back and get them. And so therefore, I don't have a lot of compassion for them when they leave them out there and refuse to go back and get them.
And I will just reiterate, the way this schedule's looking, we're going to go back to what it looked like during COVID, if not worse. So that's kind of the amount of cycles we're looking at, if anybody remembers back in 2020. So, and that'll affect litter pickup and so forth too.
Brian?
Yes, sir. So I don't know if you've been following, I have seen some media coverage from Secretary Hopkins where he has expressed some concern from DOT standpoint about safety. And they said that they would probably be looking to the General Assembly. Now, I don't know where they stand with all that, but I did read a news report where he was asked about it, and his response was, yes, we're concerned about it. I don't know what that translates to, whether they've got the clout to get something pulled off, but the Secretary has expressed some concern about it from the safety side as well.
The request here is just any assistance. That's pretty much what I'm doing, is just going to the local municipalities and governments and just asking for whatever assistance, because anybody I talk to, I don't know who knows who, right? And so I just feel like if enough people know and enough people are concerned, we're not waiting till we're in the middle of the season where people are complaining for somebody to make a change versus trying to make a change before it even happens.
Any,
We started to make our association aware, as I think the manager already said, and other than that, we can talk to our locally elected representatives.
Could we bring in our DOT person and quiz him on this? Because I have a whole list of other things. River Road's going to be covered in grass if it's not cut regularly. And because the grass is growing down the gutters, that's not your job. I mean, you're cutting the side. But now when it rains, the water doesn't drain, and there's only 2 lanes down River Road. And I've been complaining about this for over a year now. Can't get anybody to do anything. So if we could get him corralled, or her, or the person corralled in here, I would love to speak to them.
anyone else? Okay. Thank you very much, and we'll do our best to make some people aware
Thank you.
of what's
Appreciate it.
going on.
Have a good evening.
Brian, I see your speaker has arrived, so I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, sir. Dr. Michael McDuffie, who's the Chief Executive Officer of Metropolitan Community Health Services, is here today with his staff to give you an update on the progress of the Agape Health Center in Aurora.
Good afternoon,
Good evening.
Commissioners. It's good evening. It is good to see everyone. It's great being here to share some great information about the ongoing process for the Aurora project. I do have with me tonight, or this evening, I have my architect, which is Wesley Coble. He's in the audience. We have our Director of Development, who also worked with the building, helped to propose to create the building reuse, the rural building reuse infrastructure application. That's Dr. Rebecca Jackson. We have our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Wendy Carlton, our Director of Operations, Mariana Walensky, and I think I'm missing one, too. We have our Chief Behavioral Health Officer, Ms. Gwen Gilbert, and I did see our Executive Director here, Lawrence Dobie. So we've got a team here, and if anyone would like to ask any of these questions, they are familiar with this project. So again, we're glad to be here to share some good information as the ongoing progress of the Aurora Clinic. So in October 2024, Agape, we did bid out the Aurora renovations as a construction at risk project, which required a request for a proposal to be published for a minimum of 10 days. Agape received 2 bids for the project. In January 2025, after a careful review of the process, Agape selected A.R. Chesson Construction Company. Agape has recently received the preliminary construction drawings, and when we met, we didn't have any comments. And these construction drawings were presented by Wesley M. Coble, the architect who's with us. He did provide me with and I didn't want to print this, Brian, but the project manager for the project, and one thing we realized that it takes a considerable longer time to do a renovation project far as for the architectural planning than it does for a complete new building. So this building alteration planning was put together by, again, Wesley Coble and then Mullins Engineering, who's the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineer. So they work together, and so we have his stamp on that. A.R. Chesson has reviewed the final construction drawing. This was as of 9/8, and they didn't have any comments as we met. Wesley Coble has been instructed by me with no additional comments to provide the final seal of approval for the construction drawings. With that, A.R. Chesson will submit to the Beaufort County Inspections for review and permitting and begin the bid process for the subcontractors, which is estimated to take 8 to 9 weeks. It is anticipated that the construction will begin in late November and take approximately 6 to 8 months to complete. This kind of concludes my update, and I'm open to any questions that you may have or any questions that any member of my team would you would have. I would also like to say that we are still providing services in Aurora 1 day a week on Thursdays with our mobile unit, and I think we are parked at the Fossil Museum. Right, we're parked right beside the Education Center, and we're there every Thursday, and we have a medical provider and a team to see anyone they can by appointments or by just walk-ins or walk up to the mobile unit. Any questions?
Anyone have a question?
I just got one. It's really
Okay.
simple. You said 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, for a renovation project, we would love to have it a lot sooner, a lot quicker. I am going to drive them, but he did, Will Gautier will be I think he's the superintendent for A.R. Chesson, and he did say he predicted about 6 to 8 months for
And
it.
so at the end of the 6 to 8 months, when will the clinic be ready to provide services?
Well, within that, we should be ready to provide service within 30 days of them completing the construction project, because all of the at that point, all of the equipment will be ordered. We've got all the final approvals from Department of Health and Human Service, the Federal Department of Health and Human Service, for us to go ahead and purchase the equipment. We've already purchased the X-ray unit that will go into that building, and we have already purchased the generator. We're putting the generator there, so that's already been, so we can get all of that stuff ordered early on, and they can go ahead and start putting that in as construction progresses.
Thank you.
So we're looking at the summer of 26.
Yes,
Summer of
yes,
26.
yes. So, if we, as quick as we can get in there, we are really trying to get in there.
Okay.
Our goal was to actually move the mobile unit on site, but we really needed running, bathrooms and things like that. And we had it at a church first, and then we moved it down into the downtown area. But we really wanted to put it on the site, but we didn't want to, once construction started, then we wouldn't be able to use the facility, restroom facilities and things like that. So that's why we're just going to leave it there at the Fossil Museum until we're ready to move into the building.
Any other commissioner? Brian?
Dr. McDuffie, can you remind the board of the services that you'll be providing out of that facility? I know you talked about pharmacy and mental health.
Yes. So of course, our model, we will provide quite naturally primary care. We'll also do some pediatric care there, because our chief medical officer. Dr. Carlton is a pediatrician. We will have, Gwen Gilbert will have behavioral health services there, and we will have a pharmacy. That was one of the things that we want to make sure, and so Wesley was working on these, on the plans. As you all know, that the building was built way back in, I think, the 70s, and so it was not ADA compliant, and so we lost some space by trying to make the bathrooms handicap accessible, but we're still able to get the pharmacy in there. And so our goal is to also work with, primary care, behavioral health, pediatric services, I'm sure, and pharmacy care. We can't put dental there, but we do hope to have a mobile dental clinic that we will bring to Aurora. We were awarded we're still kind of waiting on, but we got the official word that we were awarded a grant to purchase another mobile unit, which would be outfitted for dental services. And so we're hoping to, once that is built, to bring dental services to Aurora via the mobile unit. We know we can't extend, we can't add to the building because of, I think, the soil. Is that right, Wesley? I think the soil had to be compacted and things like that when they built that building, so we can't actually add on to that building. But we can provide dental service via mobile unit once we get that unit built.
Commissioner Booth.
When you get this clinic completed, what will be your hours?
Our normal hours for, just like our clinic here in Washington, is 8 to 7 on Mondays, 8 to 5 on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays, and Fridays, and then Saturdays, 9 to 1. We probably won't start out with a Saturday clinic. It's just going to depend on, it will depend on the patient access or the patient need, depends on the need. But if we had to do that, we would do a Saturday, and we may just start out with maybe one Saturday a month there, but we will have some extended hours on Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and Friday will be 8 to 5.
Okay. We appreciate the update, and I know the citizens in Aurora are excited about the job being complete.
We are looking forward to serving them, to continue to serve them in a greater capacity, and we still feel good, even with everything going on with the administration. We still feel good about being able to provide the services.
I don't know whether you feel comfortable putting a sign on the property that says, hopefully by summer of '26?
Well, we can. We do have a sign out there now saying, and we can, we're, one of the things that I will have a little early on, we will have an electronic marquee sign out there. One of the things, other things I forgot to mention that I have paid for as well, is to be a electronic sign, so we'll start you running that. It's already been ordered. So that sign will be out there a lot, before they get it started. So we can be able to advertise that, yes.
Brian, did you have anything else to add?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you once again for coming tonight.
Thank you, and thank you all for entrusting this project to Agape Health Service. We appreciate each and every one of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, we're down to public comments, and we have Ashley.
Hello, everybody.
Good evening.
I will try to be very brief.
3 minutes.
You probably heard all you want to hear about property taxes, and probably don't want to hear any more, but I do just want to make a comment, just for the record, instead of calling all of y'all individually. I heard the term revenue neutral tossed around a lot during the process, and I may not be smart enough to understand it. I did go to Pantigga, Ed. But I think I know what it means, but I just noticed when we got our bill recently, our property tax went up about $400. That's 44%. That's just the property tax. I'm not talking about the solid waste or anything else on there. And just in my mind, just thinking about it, I know a lot of properties around Beaufort County similar to mine, and I got to feel like some of those went up by about the same amount, same percentage. So my comment is just this, and I don't know, I haven't seen a budget, I haven't seen anything. I know your rate went down, but I do know, or I do feel like if mine went up that much, there's others that went up that much, and to achieve the revenue neutral goal that you're talking about, there had to be a lot of properties that didn't go up in value or went up very little. And that's just a little bit, shall I say, maybe hard to believe. And let's just say for the sake of argument that revenue neutral did occur for this upcoming year. There's still how many more years before another reevaluation? Is there anything to prevent rates from going up that will wipe out that revenue neutral process? So that's all I had to say. I just wanted it for the record. I appreciate it. And I do have a few Wolfpack friends, Frankie.
Thank you very much, Ashley.
So don't hold it against me for being a Tar Heel.
Oh, I'm not. You're probably one of the smartest Tar Heel graduates I've seen.
That's not ain't much for the rest of them.
I don't see our representatives here, so we'll move down for items for consent. Does anyone want to pull an item?
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second to approve the items for consent. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Okay. We're down to our public hearing on economic development, and that'll be led by Susan. So I'll entertain a motion for us to go into the public hearing at this time.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of going into it, please raise your right hand. Thank you. Susan, the floor is yours.
Good evening, Commissioners. Here regarding that public hearing in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 158.7, subsection C, to receive comments regarding a proposed economic development incentive for Project Globe. Project Globe represents an existing company that sells online through various platforms and offers global sourcing and supply chain management solutions. Project Globe proposes to invest $5 million in new real property and to create an additional 37 new jobs if Beaufort County is selected. Both the county and the city of Washington propose an incentive grant of 6.11 acres of land already owned in the Washington Beaufort County Industrial Park. The proposed incentive grant will be based on the investment and job creation numbers with an anticipated payback period through city and county taxes of 3 years. The incentive grant will require the company to meet its capital investment within that 3 years. The public benefits derived from this incentive grant are a long-term increase in the tax base and the creation of new jobs in Beaufort County and the City of Washington. The City of Washington is working with the county on this incentive as has been done in the past, and the public hearing notice has been properly advertised as required by the statute. It is the recommendation of our office to receive and consider any public comment regarding the proposed incentive for Project Globe.
Okay, we did not have anyone to register beforehand, but I will open it this time if somebody does have a public comment. Katie, we don't have to wait 30 seconds or a minute or anything, do we? Okay. All right, need a motion to close. And I need a second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to second, a motion's made and the motion's been second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you. Now, you got the next item.
Yes, thank you. And now for your decision, the previously mentioned Economic Development Incentive Package for Project Globe. The City of Washington is also holding a public hearing for Globe this evening, probably while we speak. It is the recommendation of our office to authorize and approve the county attorney, county manager, and myself to work with the City of Washington, their officials, to grant a 6.11 acre parcel, GPIN number 5668-715402, in the Washington Beaufort County Industrial Park, and execute the appropriate paperwork to close this transaction.
Commissioners, you've heard the recommendation from the staff. Do we have a motion to move forward with the project?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just one thing, we will be, the county will be taking the lead on this like we did with other transactions so that it's just the county handling it so that we're not both having to do back and forth. So to streamline the process, the city has agreed to allow the county to take the lead on it like we did in the last one.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does this mean that we're going to build out that street out there that this particular piece of land is on and pave it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, where's the money going to come from for that?
We have submitted a pre-application discussion to the Department of Commerce for an IDF grant.
Okay, you think we'll get it?
I am hopeful. We
You're talking a lot of money here.
we have a Teams call on Friday.
Yeah, and what, have you put an estimate on what it will cost to pave the road, and does that include the cul-de-sac?
It includes infrastructure, yes, sir, those lines run, and that would be 1.6 million.
See, it's not a done deal.
Correct.
So when we approve this, we're not just approving giving the money, but we're also obligating ourselves to the paving of that road.
That cul-de-sac would not be developed unless we do pave.
Well, what I'm saying, my point in that is, I don't want to say that we're going to pave right up to this new building and we're going to stop. If we're going to do this, we need to do it correctly by doing the whole cul-de-sac, because that makes all that other property available for development.
That's correct. It's 36 acres that would be available for sale.
Okay. But there's a 1.1 million hooker.
But the city would be responsible for part of that as well.
It's correct. We typically, it's a 45-55 participation. The county owns 55% of the property out there. The city owns 45%. They have traditionally, and I would not anticipate that we'd be any different, they have participated with us at that percentage every time we've done it. So.
And depending on what Commerce says to us, then of course we would come to you and ask for you to weigh on how we proceed.
Okay. Did we vote?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. All right. We did have a motion and a second.
Yes, sir.
All right. Anybody else have anything to add to? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, we're down to the Health Department. Janelle?
Good evening.
Congratulations on your addition.
Oh, thank you. Yes, so if I misspeak, I'm blaming it on the sleep. Unfortunately, Tiffany couldn't be here tonight. She is the Behavioral Health Task Force Coordinator. She's had an unexpected loss in her family, so if you could keep her in your prayers. But I'm going to do the best I can, hopefully, to bring forth what the task force has amended. So hopefully everyone got an updated packet today that had the listserv of Behavioral Health Task Force positions, names, things of that such. Basically, the Behavioral Health Task Force, what's in front of you, is they came up, or they decided 3 organizations that they felt clearly align with the mission to provide prevention and interventions. One being the Belhaven After School Center, increasing capacity in Beaufort County. The Prevention Point Program, also that had attainable goals and addresses the intervention component of the strategic priorities. And those priorities were not only of the task force, but of the opioid settlement as well. And then overwhelmingly, District 2 Recovery Court was voted that they best meet all the priorities. What you see in front of you, I'm gonna do the best I can, is the first page is those 3 programs laid out. What they said they're about, their target population, and the amount requested. The second page is the survey data that was basically ranked 5 very well aligned with the task force initiatives as well as the opioid settlement initiatives, and then 1 not aligned at all. If you look at that first graph all the way at the bottom, you can see that the District 2 Recovery Court scored highest in that rating. And then on the very last graph that you see, District 2 again overwhelmingly was the front runner, followed by a tie with the Health Department and Belhaven After School Community Center. And then the...
Janelle, excuse
Yes,
me
sir.
1 second. Is page 440 is what she's referring to. Did you find? Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. And I have copies individually if anyone needs those.
Everybody's with it.
Gotcha. So the request is coming from the task force to approve the following 3 programs: District 2 Recovery Court for $10,000, Belhaven After School Center for $10,000, and then the Prevention Point for $7,000. So if you remember my last presentation, currently in the spending plan that was approved through the commissioners, there's $20,000 in that community pilot line, which is $7,000 short of the requested or ideally funded from the pilot community projects. So the request is to approve all 3. We would be asking a budget reallocation of $7,000 from the future opioid expenditure line to fund all 3 of these projects, and that is the request.
Well, there's a problem in this. How much is the total budget for this?
For this, as in these projects?
Yes.
$27,000.
The total for the whole budget for opioid settlement.
Oh, well, I have a sticky note actually in case. Hold on 1 second. So we are anticipated from 2022 to 2038 being awarded $5.7 million. So that's about $360,000 per year.
Okay. Now, let's go back and talk for a minute. And what you're asking you for is an over budget of this $27,000.
Well, you want to go?
No, and the fact that it says future opioid expenditures, they're not future expenditures. So basically, this is fund balance sitting there. We've already received the funds, the $27,000. We're just asking to allocate it from the fund balance for spending.
Yes, but y'all are trying to take me down a rabbit hole by only wanting to talk about the $27,000. We're talking about a $365,000 budget. And then we're talking about $27,000 that y'all want certain specific approval on. So, and this is for the public's benefit, this is opioid settlement money that came out of the lawsuits where people were manufacturing this stuff and it was prescribed to people. And so they've had to pay damages out of this in the billions. Thank God they had to pay for the damage that they've done, to, at least some of the damage they've done to the public. And what makes this issue complicated is I made a motion at the June the 2nd meeting, which I'm going to read, which Mr. Manager, you guys are trying to tell me my lying eyes. I'm reading the motion. Commissioner Richardson motioned to fund an additional $20,000 to District 2 Recovery Court out of the opioid settlement if it is allowed. Now, if it is allowed in this case means if the grantors who gave us the money allow it, which they will, based on the guidelines of payout. Commissioner Deathridge second. The vote was unanimous. Now, the next motion that was made after this says, this motion was made by Commissioner Booth to approve the spending resolution of the balance of the $365,963 to September the 30th, 2026, that Commissioner Richardson seconded, and Commissioner Richardson seconded, the vote was unanimous. So what you have to work with is a budget in the amount of $365,963 minus $20,000 that's going to go to the recovery court. That's your budget.
Everything you said is true, and
That's exactly right.
okay, so, and how can we help you with that? We're just asking for a reallocation of $27,000.
Okay. What I'm asking you is this, because what you told me at the last meeting was that there wasn't going to be $20,000 allocated to the recovery court.
No, I don't believe that's what we said. What we said is that these are restricted funds. They're in a special revenue account, and that we've already allocated, with tonight's allocation of the $10,000 to the recovery court, they will be receiving $20,000. They're receiving $10,000 in our outside agency general fund department that you give them every year, $10,000, and we're recommending that we give them an additional $10,000 out of the opioid settlement funds for a total of the $20,000 that you recommend.
That was not my motion. I'm going to read this again. Commissioner Richardson motioned to fund an additional is a key word here, $20,000 to District 2 Recovery Court out of the opioid settlement, if it is allowed based on the guidelines of the payout. And that's true, that's allowed. Commissioner Dethridge seconded, and the vote was unanimous. So you take your budget of $365,963 and you subtract $20,000 from it without playing games with the money and the budget and all that kind of stuff. Then we're going to take that $345,963 and do a budget.
Well, the opioid spending plan that was authorized was for that 365 that was signed and approved by the commissioners. For that covered the opioid educator, the task force coordinator, the pilots.
No.
No, she's correct. This board has approved
that may
every
be what we
spending
did, but
authorization.
this motion reduced that amount by $20,000 because I'm going to read you what Commissioner Booth motioned. Commissioner Booth motioned to approve the spending resolution of the balance of the $365,963 to September the 30th of 2026. Commissioner Richardson seconded. The vote was unanimous. You guys are playing games with the money.
No, how about this? How about you make a motion that we take $10,000 out of fund balance and give it to the second judicial district? Then they'll have $30,000.
That was the whole idea to begin with. They wanted $10,000. Wait a minute. I thought we gave them $10,000 in the budget that we just did.
You did for this specific program.
So they have $10,000 plus $20,000 that's coming out of the opioid settlement funds.
So you would need the program that's here list out all those, and that was already there. That had already been approved. So if you want an additional $10,000, what you need to do is just make a motion to take it out of fund balance and give it to them. I mean, that's fine. We're happy with that.
Because we need to follow our own rules. We need to be true to ourselves. What this motion says is that we were reducing that opioid settlement budget because it's hiring people and doing a bunch of other things. Now, if what you guys are saying is you want to bust the budget. The commissioners, somebody can certainly make that motion here tonight to bust the budget and do away with what was decided, because it's very clear to me what was decided here. And just because you guys are all in the background playing games with this, and us dumb old commissioners sitting up here, we're supposed to sit here and go along with this. Some of us know how to count.
Are we talking about two budget cycles? I'm a little bit confused.
So I do, and I will, Hood, I do apologize if I misunderstood at one point too, because one thing I did, because I don't control the budget of the opioid settlement. I don't sit on the task force because it's supposed to be community-driven and organization-wise. And so I don't have that much involvement or pulling strings on my end. Now, the last time I was up here, and again, the task force coordinator wasn't up here, and I apologize. I do remember saying I did need to go check to make sure that it could pull into Strategy B. And I think it sounds like I must have confused coming back from Strategy B, because way back before I even got here, when Jim had presented and we went option B, the DOJ and all of them put very strategic things in place that went to that collaboration process to have community input before money is just moved.
Well,
So that's where I came from as far as the task force and that evaluation.
you did say what you said, but let me explain to you what commissioners do. We can change budgets, and that's what we did with the motion that I made. We changed the budget by a unanimous vote, and it was further solidified by what Commissioner Booth did when he said, I move that we approve the balance for the use that you were talking about. Now, because you don't want to do that, doesn't mean that you're allowed to change the budget and bust the budget, and we're going to go dig this money out of fund balance, the county's savings, because somebody thinks somebody's supposed to have so much money. Now, the $345,000 that's being spent out of the opioid settlement is spent to pay counselors. It's spent to do everything, in my opinion, except really help the people that have been damaged. Now, the recovery court, yes, Mr. Manager, you need to contain yourself a minute. The recovery court is run by the judge, by the district court judge. That is money that is used to help people that have already been convicted of drug-related crimes, not somebody that may be thinking about taking a dose, as the $345,000 is going for. This is money that's used to stop recidivism, to keep these people from falling back, to help them get on their feet so they can get a job, and we don't have to deal with them anymore in our legal system. Now,
I'm going to make a motion
Yes, sir.
that we amend the budget and take an additional $10,000 and
From the
fulfill the
opioid-
request.
Okay.
I'll leave that up to
oh,
you guys.
no, that's a
It
job
needs
for this
to-
board to decide. That's not up to staff to decide. That's what this whole debate is about, is whether elected officials are in charge or whether staff is in charge.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is the bottom line from my perspective as the finance officer. We have these restricted opioid funds that have come into the county, and there are certain dictations on how they're spent. We
Right,
told
they had to be scored just like
We told the
see.
state that we would go through a collaborative process, just as the director said, and we would have a task force that decided how these funds would be spent. So it would not be appropriate just to pick whatever agency the board chooses and circumvent the process that we told the state we would go through. So I understand that Commissioner Richardson wants to give the courts $30,000. We've already given them $10,000 from the general fund. The recommendation from the task force is to give them $10,000 for their program from the opioid funds. That leaves a $10,000 deficit. My recommendation to you is to not get us in any trouble with the state, not get me in any trouble with my auditors that we haven't spent the funds appropriately as far as the opioid funds go. Simply take it out of general fund balance, which you have purview over on that spending with no restrictions, if you want to give them a total of $30,000. That's my recommendation.
I want to say this to the finance officer. What you just said is deceptive, because the $20,000 that's being appropriated out of these funds, plus the $345,000, is being spent inside of the guidelines. There is, for you to imply that we may be stepping outside the guidelines is misinformation, and you don't need to be proud of yourself for that.
Well,
I don't have a deceptive bone in my body, I don't believe.
Sure you don't.
I said
Don't
what
forget, I
believe
see
to be
you here
true.
every month. I know how deceptive you can be.
Commissioner
Mr.
Richardson.
Chairman, that's totally inappropriate.
I
And I would ask the board to admonish Commissioner Richardson
It's
for
not
such
up to you to
comments.
ask the board to do anything.
I think
It's
it
up to
is.
the board to decide what it's going to do.
When
This
you
is not the
accuse our
school board
finance
where you're in
officer
charge.
of being deceptive and acting like
Okay.
you have no
I've made a motion, and we'll take the $10,000 out of the general fund, and we'll end this conversation. All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second. All those in favor of the motion, raise
Point
your
of order
right
before
hand.
you vote, Mr. Chairman. a point of order.
Okay?
You need to kill the motion that I made in June before you proceed with this motion. I'm sorry you don't understand it. That's what part of our problem here.
Yes.
We've got a lot of people that just don't understand.
Well, and you're not the one that we look to make sure that our audit is clean. We don't look at Hood Richardson to make sure that it's clean. We look at our staff.
This is going to cause an audit problem, and if you're relying on staff and you're an elected official, you don't need to be sitting here.
Oh, I'm telling you, you're way out of line when you start insulting like you just did. You're out of line.
That's your opinion.
Right.
And it's worth about 2 cents.
Okay, all right. All those, yes.
Let me ask you this. On this new allocation that you have here, which come up to $27,000, where did that 27, that's excess money, is that correct?
No, it's the existing funds that we have on hand.
So that's the existing funds that we already have on hand. So somebody that's been getting appropriations did not get appropriations this time, am I correct?
No.
Well,
Nobody's microphone's on.
Hoods. I mean, so this is it extra money or has it already been allocated?
It's not extra money. So for example, we've received, and I'm pulling numbers off the top of my head, $360-some thousand so far in opioid funds, and we're bringing spending authorizations to you to spend that money as we go. And we're asking for $27,000 of the $365 tonight to spend.
I got you.
Yes, sir.
Now, when the motion that he's talking about, for my clarification, my motion was we gave the courts, we spent $20,000, am I correct, of this budget?
Not of just this budget. We gave them $10,000 out of the general fund. We're recommending $10,000 of opioid funds tonight.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry, but when people are telling things that are simply not true, they need to be objected to.
I'm doing this.
How is that not true? I looked at the budget before I came in here. You voted to give them $10,000 of general fund money in fiscal year 25-26.
Okay. So that left, so we still had $365,000 of the opioid money to spend.
Yes, sir. Minus what you appropriate tonight.
Minus the $27,000 that we appropriate tonight.
Yes, sir.
Well, now I'm still confused with the motion that I made, and I made the motion for $345,000. What happened with that money? I mean, I'm not saying that you've done anything. I trust you with your figures.
So, well, I know
Now, I remember a while back that we allocated some money.
If you look on page 437, and I don't have a copy of the budget in front of me. Do you have that?
I've got yes. So this, I've got this one, the resolution that was approved, that breaks down, so you can see per item that was approved, price, and that's the budget that we're working off of.
Okay. Now, this don't have anything to do with the money that we allocated to you when you didn't fill the pew people.
No, so this.
Thank you.
Yes, okay.
I was just wondering. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And originally, when the original spending plan was approved, if you remember, there was money allocated for the task force coordinator that we did not use until this July because we used KBR funds to help supplement.
Thank you.
Okay. We got a motion on the floor. All those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Okay. Well, it dies. All right.
Well, now, your motion died, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then we need to go, we are back to the motion that I made in June.
That's the one that you got,
No, this is the motion I made in June, and then you voted, you made the motion to the $365,000 less the 20. That is their budget. The money, we appropriated the money in June.
Yeah, but you said you didn't spend it. Is that correct?
No, No.
Mr. Chairman, if you will take a 5-minute recess, I will go print the budget off and put it on the projector and show it to everybody.
It's not going to do any good.
Here.
That's what
It's
we
the
changed the
official-
budget.
It's
That's
the official county books.
The motion was made that changed the amount of money that was appropriated, that was collected for opioid settlement. That's what we're talking about. We're not getting out into the fund balance and all this other stuff. We reduced the budget down to $345,000. That's the budget that she has to work with.
Well, it's not my budget.
Why don't we table this for one more month and send us before the meeting, send us the budget that shows where the 345,000 goes. Is that okay?
The spending plan, just for the record, the spending plan is $365,963.
Okay, but every category, yeah, I mean, you're showing 3 here that we were looking at doing a motion tonight.
So that falls under, I'm sorry, y'all. In that spending plan here, the opioid peer project where there's $20,000.
Who made that decision on how to spend that $365,000? Then we changed it and reduced it by $20,000. So now you've got a budget
And
of...
then we need a new spending authorization plan.
Then you need to do that. You need to bring us back a spending authorization plan that is based on spending the $345,000 that the commissioners appropriated.
So if we do that 5-minute break, if I might have an idea with a updated spending authorization, but I just need a few minutes to talk. No? Okay.
No.
Okay, never mind.
We're spending too much time on this.
Sure.
I personally, I don't care, I don't know about the rest of them, but I personally would like to see what every group gets. And I'm not talking about, categories. I'm talking about the recovery court, what they get total from the opioid settlement.
Okay.
And each one.
Based on the actions of us commissioners, based upon when we changed the budget back in June, the total will be $365,000, and it will show $20,000 to the recovery court, then the rest of your budget after that.
Well,
now stop trying to play numbers on me, guys, because this is what goes on in government. It's one of the reasons that we have problems in the school system and all these other places is everybody wants to play games and get what they want, taking it from this pot and that pot and another pot. And I've sat in here too long and seen this going on. So we have a $365,000 budget. Everybody's agreed on that. We reduced it by $20,000 by vote of the Beaufort County Board of County Commissioners by a unanimous vote. So why are you guys letting staff dictate to you what to do?
Because we'd like to have all the numbers. If somebody had just given me the courtesy of saying, like you, Commissioner Richardson, I'm going to bring this up tonight, could you please have your numbers ready? I look at thousands of numbers on a daily basis. I'm not able to quote numbers to you. I can tell you just from general knowledge, we're getting about $5-some million in opioid funds over the next 20-some years. We've gotten probably between $800,000 and $1 million over the last 3 years. We've brought $365,000 to you to say we want to allocate this. We know how we want to spend this. There's probably actually about $400,000 or $500,000 sitting in the bank that we've actually received to date over the last 3 years that we haven't come before you and said, this is how we'd like to spend it. This is the spending plan. Will you approve it? So we just want to have all the numbers in hand before making a decision. Wouldn't you agree that's the right thing and prudent thing to do?
No, I don't agree, because that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about the overall budget and philosophy of how to spend this money, because that's going to be a problem when it comes up again, because I'm not sure we're spending it the best way we can spend it. That's one of the reasons that I made the motion to put the $20,000 to recovery court. What we are talking about tonight is $365,963. We're not talking about all that other stuff. Once again, you're trying to lead us in a circle around the briar patch.
I'm not.
Okay, I'm very familiar with the briar patch. You're not going to get there.
I've given you my professional
Let's
opinion.
limit us to the $365,000 that was brought to the commissioners that we are dealing with.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor to table this and get more information for our next meeting.
Let's be sure what that
Okay.
motion says, because the motion is supposed to say the $365,000.
No, it's my motion. It's my motion.
Well, what do you want to do?
I want them to come before us with more information, the facts, and I don't know that I've got to already say that I want to take 10,000. I think that's immaterial. I just want to see the numbers. We can make a motion at that point in time to do 20 if you want to do 20.
We've already made the motion to do 20, and it's been voted on, Mr. Chairman.
The question is from the staff, and I know what you're saying, but somehow or other we've got to come to some agreement and know that everybody is happy on it.
All I'm saying is we started off talking about $365,000.
No. Come on now.
Yes,
Come
we
on,
did,
Hood.
because that's in the motion.
Come
That's
on,
what
Hood.
she brought to us. You know, to your own self be true, Frankie.
All right, I'll
Own
tell you
self
what we're
be
going to do.
true.
We're going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and I'm going to ask the commissioners to step in the back. Okay?
Whoa.
Yes.
No. If we're going to do business, we're going to do business right here in front of the public. We're not doing some secret deal in the back room. You take your buddies and go in the back room, do your deal. I'm staying out here. I'm not going in the back room. This is a public issue. The public deserves to know how their $365,000 is being spent.
It's a recess. You can stay in here and you keep running your mouth.
Well, you boys go back there.
I think we've got a solution. Well, you can go ahead and make
So, I mean, what we would recommend to you is give us a month, let us reach out to DOJ, because this is a spending plan that is put together that's under the guidance of the opioid settlement, which is what we have tried to make sure that we've maintained, because we get umpteen emails from DOJ every time we do anything relating to this, because they want to make sure we're doing exactly right. Because you have federal requirements, you have state requirements, you have an agreement you've already approved with them. So if you'll give us the next month to confirm with them that it is okay to move money around like that, then we will do that and we'll bring it back. But I do want to be clear about the point that in this pilot project that agencies requested funding that was evaluated, the Second Judicial District asked for $10,000. This spending requisition gives them what they asked for. Commissioner Richardson wants to give them an additional $10,000.
Right.
They asked for $20,000.
No, sir. They asked for $10,000 in this request. That is what they have been given. You want to give them $10,000 more.
And they can be anywhere you want them to.
Hood, they asked for 20 in the budget workshop in the process, but they only asked for 10 in this opioid.
Okay, well,
Okay.
we were giving them a 20. That's
Okay.
what we voted to do.
But we're going to have numbers, and they're going to make sure that we can go back and change.
Look,
If-
again, this is just a game, Frankie. It's real.
No, we're-
Anybody with common sense to settle. You guys gonna play games with it, and you're gonna mix the numbers up to the point that you're finally gonna get where you wanna go.
No.
Now, I'm not gonna stop fighting, so you guys go ahead and do what you need to do.
I'm all for giving the recovery court more money, just to let you know that. But I want to make sure it's the right thing to do.
Well, I think I did mention that last meeting, as well as we work very closely with the Recovery Court. And think they have a great program, and I think they work well, and I think they actually have representation on our task force, if I remember their listserv. I'm all for whatever funding y'all see, but I just want DOJ in writing to say, this is good, and the next meeting I can come back, or Tiffany can come back and say X, Y, Z.
I want the names of the individuals that you're dealing with in the Department of Justice that are going to be writing this. Please email me that information with their telephone numbers, because I want to talk to them too.
Would you like just to be CC'd on the email that we asked the question?
Everything that goes back and forth, I'd like copies of it.
We'll send those to the entire board.
Okay, Katie, do I need to pull my motion to table, or are we good? Okay. All right, it dies. It dies. All right?
It died because it got distracted.
Yeah. All right, I would say it did.
Langley.
Okay. Thank you, Janelle.
Yeah. I don't know how much good I did, but you're welcome.
Yeah. I know you've got other things to do. Okay, we're down to Public Works. Christina?
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm bringing before you this evening a requested change to the Beaufort County Water fee schedule that was approved in the fiscal year 2026 budget. The fee schedule that was included in that budget followed the same template as previous fee schedules and included tampering fees for damage sustained to Beaufort County water-owned property. So again, if you'll remember back, as we were developing that, the fee schedule includes tampering charges, and it had a first offense as well as a second offense. So that's the two different offenses is what this change is basically regarding. Because tampering with a water meter and various other acts are criminalized under North Carolina General Statutes 14-151, utilities cannot impose penalties for conduct that state law has already deemed a crime. Utilities must use other ways to respond to acts of damaging to their property, such as criminal prosecution, civil recovery, and reimbursement for the actual cost of repairing or replacing damaged property. So if you look on the next page, which is 443, you'll see in the middle of the page the tampering fees and where we had the first occurrence and then the second occurrence. First occurrence over on the far right-hand side says based upon actual physical damage. So that is where we were being replaced for the actual damage that was caused to the property. The second occurrence had higher fees in order to try to persuade people not to do it. I mean, that's basically what we were doing. So based upon North Carolina general statutes, it has been deemed by the county attorney that we are not allowed to do that. So the next page is page 444. And so you will see where we have removed the label tampering fees, and we now call that damage fees. And we just have listed out replacement costs, including the material, equipment, and labor, et cetera. So we will be going back and actually for each occurrence or each time it happens, staff will have to go back and look at the very specifics of it. The previous intent was we were looking at trying to standardize it as far as just, some damage may be a little more, some may be a little less, but now we will be looking at the actual replacement costs for each individual occurrence.
So we're just making that one change?
Yes, sir, that's the
Okay.
only change. All other fees remain the same.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the revised, question. Go ahead.
So, of course, I don't have county water, but if I was a resident that had county water and I accidentally ran over the meter with my lawnmower, which does happen, and tore it up, under this, I mean, I'm not being charged criminally with damaging the thing, and I'm not tampering with it, which I would have been covered under the old method. What am I going to pay to have that meter replaced?
The replacement cost.
The replacement.
Exactly what is listed in the fee schedule, which is the replacement cost, including material, how was it labored? Including material, equipment, and labor.
So the damage fee.
Yes, sir.
And that's in the general statute.
Yes, sir.
But I've accidentally damaged it.
You may have accidentally damaged it. Some people do not accidentally damage it because the first time may be an accident, the second time,
They
you
knew
know
it was
it's
there, yeah.
And pretty much everyone knows that their meter's there. So again, it's still damaged. It's still county-owned property and it's damaged.
Understand.
And so we still incur costs due to that.
Right, okay.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion to approve, do I have a second? Second. Okay, when we have a second, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. Thank you, Christina. All right, we're down to emergency service. Chris?
Sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. So I have a couple items on the agenda for tonight. The first two items are non-emergency transport franchise approval. We've had two submissions for that. The first is Caroline Medical Transport. They are a non-E service that has, I believe, 4 ambulances. They're currently providing your transports in a facility to hospitals, doctor's appointments, and things of that nature in both Craven and Lenoir County. They have offices in Kinston and Greenville and are looking to provide this needed service for Beaufort County as well. They are unique in that they offer bariatric transport, so they have that ability, which is something we encounter in Beaufort County also. So this, their application has been reviewed by our office staff. It's been reviewed by the EMS Oversight Committee. They have brought that forward to you for approval for their franchise operations within Beaufort County. And Jeff's here. We'll be happy to take any questions you have related to their application.
Well, I have a problem with the application. I don't know what you guys have got, but I can't read what they've submitted. I can't read it.
Yeah.
It's not present, you know. Second thing, on the first application, they have an office in Greenville. As I recall, and we'd have to search the minutes, about 15, 18 years ago, we require an office in Beaufort County.
So that is, we do not see that in our ordinance.
Well, the commissioners, if you go back and search the commissioners' minutes, you're going to find it in there. Booth remembers it, I remember, because we've had this before. And what happens when one of these companies runs in here that doesn't have an office here, the next thing that happens is there's going to be 10 right behind them saying, oh, we can do the same thing. And I don't mind it, but we need to treat everybody fairly and the same. And so I'd like to pull their application until I can get something that I can read, because it's an insult to me to bring this to me and tell me to approve it. That's an insult to a commissioner, right there. Okay? And then secondly, they need to find an office somewhere in Beaufort County.
And if I could ask that we make whatever necessary changes to our ordinance to show that, because as we review this, we're basing this on the ordinance, and we did not have knowledge of that previous board requirement of having a local office. So
I know that.
if we could do that so we don't run into this.
That was not discussed, that's not been discussed since I've been on the EMS Oversight Committee.
Okay. Be happy to do that.
Well, that's something that the commissioners decided, and so,
Yes, sir.
yeah, if we can do that. I don't have a problem with them. I just need to be able to read their application.
So, Mr. Chairman, I would ask the county attorney to give you a ruling on whether you can hold someone to something that's not in the ordinance.
Well, we did.
County attorney to give an
And
opinion to the board.
We have precedent that we did hold them to it.
And I would ask that the county attorney be given the opportunity to address the board on legal matters that might be of benefit to the board.
I don't have a problem. I'm not going to stop it. I'm just saying, we've already done it. We have the precedent. That's legal.
So certainly understand that. As far as approving the applications are concerned, this was an appropriate application to bring forth based on the wording of the ordinance without any prior indication of the minutes. So if you make a change to the substance of an ordinance like that, so to say that they are to have an office space in the county, that then needs to be reflected in your ordinance as well.
But I'm assuming we can't stop this application. I mean, it was accepted and approved by the Oversight Committee and went through legal.
You certainly have the ability to stop the process at this point. This is before the board for approval, and it complies with your ordinance as it's stated.
Okay.
So we'll be happy to again ask for a clearer copy. I agree with that.
Well, let me
So
ask you
try to
what
get
the
us-
standing of the companies that we required to have an office in this county is. When we required them to have an office in this county, and then we suddenly changed the rules on it, you know. So I'm requesting we go back and do a search of the minutes, see what the minutes said at that point in time.
And again, that oversight is on us. I was not aware of those decisions, and it wasn't in
Yeah,
the
well, that's
ordinance. So
understandable.
we based that on
It's
our-
not a problem, and I need an application. I don't think I can vote on an application that I can't read, so.
We attempted to have that corrected and to not get it in time to get it on the agenda. So, yes, sir.
Okay, so we're going to pull.
If that's the decision of the board, we can pull this for consideration tonight, and we'll bring it back to you next month. Well, yes, next month with a clearer copy of the contract. And I am assuming that as the board, we need to give that guidance to Caroline, that they have to have an office in our county in order to operate, if I'm understanding the board correctly, or does that have to be changed in the ordinance?
That would need to be changed in the ordinance.
But if the commissioners have decided that's a policy, then you can't require 3 or 4 companies to have an office in the county and one to not have an office in the county. I would argue that the policy and the vote of the commissioners on policy has the same effect as an ordinance. Just because there's an oversight in the ordinance doesn't mean that the rule does not apply. And the commissioners have the authority to do that. And treating people, I don't think we need to treat these people unfairly that have been here all these years providing us with service.
I agree with the fairness aspect. I can't speak to which one trumps what and what that means from the legal implications. I believe the attorney has given her opinion on that. So I would say if we come back to this, my recommendation would be we bring a change to the ordinance as well.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say, and I think you're right. It's an easy fix to modify the ordinance and then approve them.
And I think that would need to happen
Or disapprove.
first.
Oh, well, we get into some murky stuff there, but we got to get this thing resolved. They need an office here.
We'll consult and bring this back to you next month.
It is probably not going to be next month because there'll probably have to be a public hearing on that.
Okay. All right.
All right.
You want to go to the next one?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, have a Seclet franchise application for you for KOR Transportation. They're operating out of a home office here in Washington. They have one ambulance asset and are looking to get started for the convalescent service at a basic level and provide that services within the county as well. That would include, again, interfacility and your routine doctor's visits are among the services they provide. They do not have the bariatric capabilities, and they only have one ambulance to provide that service with at the time. The other piece that I would say we would need before they start functioning is by the ordinance. These franchisees have to provide proof of insurance at the various levels that are identified in the ordinance, and they cannot operate until that's provided 14 days in advance of their data operations. We have not received their full insurance piece, so once we receive that, there'll be a 14-day window before they can start operating, but they will not be able to operate until they provide us the insurance coverage and that 14 days has passed. So I just want to...
That's one to bring back as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's better to wait, and then we'll,
So if I may ask, if I'm bringing both of these back, is that just to approve both of them at one time, or is there something that I need to bring back in addition with KOR?
With this particular one, the insurance. You just
Okay.
gotta have the proof of that insurance.
So this again may be where the ordinance, we may need to look at making some changes on that, because as the ordinance lays out, it says contents of the application. So a person must provide A through J, and then J is the insurance requirements. But then at the end of that J, it says emergency services, said certificate of insurance will be forwarded to the County Emergency Services Office 14 days prior to the agency going into business in the county from the insurance company. So as we read that ordinance, there's a little bit of contradiction between you have to have insurance, proof of insurance in your application, or you don't, but you have to give it before you can operate. And we interpreted that as you have to provide this before we operate. Be happy to bring this back as well with their insurance, just pointing out another change that we may need to make in our ordinance so we don't run into this again.
Well, having to have it before you operate is sort of easier on the companies because they have problems. They go buy an insurance policy, make application, then they don't get approved. That can get to be a mess. So normally on most construction jobs and everything else, you just can't begin work until you get it.
So what we heard from KOR, and Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, what we heard was this was a very expensive policy for them to take out, not knowing whether or not their franchise request would be approved, and particularly for them as a startup in a home office, trying to get their business going, this was a significant investment.
So this is a startup?
Yes, he's actually got quotes. He's getting quotes right now for it, but I did caution him to hold back, because that's a lot of money that one person would have to put out, and y'all disapprove his franchise, and he's just out of money.
So, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
So the ordinance is written that way exactly for that purpose, so that the board would approve it, then he can go get his insurance, but he can't operate until you get the insurance. There's a 14-day period in there.
And he also, after they present that application, we do the application to OEMS to put them in our system plan that will be signed by myself, Chris, the county manager, and the operator of the business.
Okay.
Then that will go to OEMS, and it will take time for it to be put into continuum, then they can operate. Until they get put in that continuum, they cannot operate.
Okay, I think,
Mr. Chairman, so the board would be in order if they wanted to approve this one with the understanding that they have to be in compliance with the ordinance, which reads they can't operate until they have their insurance in place. So you could approve this second one with the understanding that they can't operate until they have their insurance in place in accordance with the ordinance.
okay. Tandy?
So I'll make a motion to approve this business to operate contingent on getting the insurance 14 days before they operate.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. You want to go to your rental agreement?
Yes, the last item we have before you is renewing a rental agreement that we currently have with Old Ford Fire Department. As you may recall, we partnered with Old Ford back in May of 2017, and we rented space to house providers in our EMS truck, to operate an EMS truck to serve the Old Ford and Clarks Neck community. That was initially a 2-year contract, and since then we have occupied that space just at the tenant at will type provision. Truthfully, it's one of those deadlines that neither us nor them kept track of. It was just a partnership that was continuing, and as we met with members of Old Ford Fire Department earlier this year, the need to bring this contract back to a current status and make some necessary changes that we've identified over the last 5 years came to light. So we worked with the county attorney on drafting this along with Old Ford Fire Department. That has resulted in the contract that you have before you. There is one statement that will be added to that contract. It was a oversight on our part that we called in a review after the agenda was made. In section 7 under maintenance, the previous contract had verbiage about the expectation of keeping the station secure whenever no one was there or outside to monitor the doors. Our new contract, we did not include that, and we called it after the fact when the agendas were printed. So in talking with the county attorney and with Old Ford, we're going to add that statement back into number 7, and it will simply say both parties shall adequately secure the premises when not in use to prevent unsupervised access by the public. I did want to make you aware that sentence we do intend to add back, but we did not include it on the contract, and that was our fault for doing so. So with that, I'll be happy to take any questions you have. And
Any question? Okay, I entertain a motion to.
Motion to approve the contract with the addition to Chapter 7, which is securing of the building.
Okay, we got a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor of the rental agreement with Old Ford, raise your right hand.
Thank you.
Commissioners. Thank you.
Okay. Sheriff's Office. Victoria, I think you're first on budget amendment.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Before you, you have a budget amendment request. As part of the 911 Board's replacement schedule, the board will fund to replace all of our 911 monitors. With this budget amendment, we're requesting that the $15,000 be moved from the E911 appropriated fund balance and allocated to our hardware line in order to cover this eligible expense.
You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Anyone else have a question or?
I've got a question.
Okay.
How are you going to get a 49-inch screen? You have two 49-inch screens on each desk? Tell me how to do that.
They're on top of each other.
They're on top of, okay.
So they're curved monitors, and they're about this big, I think they're curved, and we stack them on top of each other. Because right now, we have 4 monitors, 2 stacked on top of 2, and now we're just making it streamlined.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. Linwood, you want to do the Panasonic
That's correct, Chairman.
contract?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Commissioners. I'm here to present to you, we are proposing, it would require a 5-year lease for 29 Panasonic Toughbooks for our patrol division at a equipment cost of $99,953.99 over the 5-year period, coming out to a total of $22,372.17 a year. I do currently, for y'all's information for this here, budget $18,375 a year for laptops on a 5-year replacement schedule. That's the cost of 15 laptops, as well as 5 desktops for general staff on that same replacement 5-year schedule at $4,385 for a total of $22,760, which would be saving $388 a year. And we would take back the old equipment that's, most of it's 1 to 2 years, that's with patrol now, and repurpose that through the office to meet the replacement schedule.
Okay.
We have not spent any money on computers this year at this time.
Any questions of Linwood?
Does this get reviewed by the county's computer consultant? I call her the computer seller.
Who are you talking about?
The lady with the pink
Sherry
house.
Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Sherry Johnson, yeah.
This does not, we make our own equipment purchases when it comes to computers and things of that nature. Now, if we're talking about things that help run our network, such as switches, servers, things of that nature, we always consult with her on that. Because that's what she manages for our offices, the network equipment.
You're going to take Toughbooks out of the patrol cars and repurpose them through the office?
We're going to put Toughbooks into the cars and take the HP ProBook 450 G10 business laptops we have in the cars now and repurpose those throughout the office.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All right, all those in favor of recommendation, raise your right hand.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. The sheriff is requesting the approval in the amount of $363,588 to purchase. Exactly. We wish it was that much, don't we? 5 Durangos, 1 Ford truck, and 1 Dodge truck, and 1 Jeep.
Okay, got a motion to approve the 5 Dodge Durandos and a F-150 and a Dodge 2500.
Second.
And we have a second. Any discussion? Where's the Jeep going?
Go ahead.
Where's the Jeep going?
Covert.
Okay. Okay.
Does this include the cost of changing over the
The
lights?
upfitting?
Yes, the upfitting.
No, sir. This is just the vehicle purchase itself.
About what is the cost of the upfitting?
$13,000 a vehicle is what it's about up to.
Jeez. That's why we need, putting enough miles on these vehicles is really important. Putting an extra 25, 30,000 miles on a vehicle can save you a lot of money this day and time.
And all of these vehicles will be purchased under the state contract.
Okay. All those in favor of the recommendation to purchase the seven vehicles, raise your right hand.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. We're down to our break, so we'll take about 10 minutes, and then we'll be back. We're back in session, and we're down to the Finance Department, so I'll turn it over to Anita.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we do this every September. We bring forth a listing of all the purchase orders, contracts, grant agreements, things that we're obligated to fulfill that didn't commence before June 30th. So we have to carry it forward to the new year. So if you look on page 532, you'll see a list of the projects that we do need to bring forward to the next year, because for whatever reason, either the items weren't received or the services weren't provided before June 30th, and I'm happy to give you a few minutes to look at those, and if you have any questions, I'll try to answer those, or we may have to ask the individual departments about that.
Well, I have a question while we're waiting. Fund balance appropriated, is that in addition to all of the other things that are listed here?
No, so because we did not spend the appropriated funds in last year to pay for these incomplete services, that money rolled into fund balance. So we're saying we need to reappropriate that money out of fund balance down to the expenditure lines to pay for the services in the new year.
Yeah, need a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion. Do we have a second? Got a motion, a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All right, you want to go to the next one, the Washington Elementary reimbursement?
Yes, sir, on page 533. So the new school is about 25% complete, 24.7% complete. We spent $12,540,877 to date on the school. This is reimbursement number 8 to pay the construction contractor $3,394,480 for work performed. The grant portion of that payment will be the $2,741,000 and change. Our county shares the $652,758. And just looking for a motion to be able to pay WIMCO for the reimbursement or for their invoice and send the reimbursement to the state to request drawdown of the grant funds.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, and a second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving request number 8 to the tune of $3,394,480,000, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Okay. All right, we're down to Brian. You're up with the opioid litigation resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. On page 547, you'll see you have a resolution. There has been a settlement with the National Opioid Settlement for 8 additional what they call secondary opioid manufacturers. There's also been a settlement with Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family. So that is entailed in this, and then there is a third supplemental agreement for the additional funds between the state of North Carolina and the local government for settling those and receiving those proceeds. This is, in order for us to participate in this, the board's got to pass the resolution and which allows the chairman to execute those agreements. The resolution and participation and release forms have been reviewed by the county attorney without objection, and we recommend your approval.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second? Okay, and a second. Any questions? All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. You want to go to the ABC Board appointments, Brian? Katie?
Yes, sir. As you can see in your book, you have quite a few people that have shown some interest. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get there. There we go. I'm sorry. We do have 5 people who are interested in filling that position. And you have the opportunity to choose one of those 5.
All right, I move, are you going to do a motion?
I make a motion, we nominate John Rebel.
Second?
I make a motion to nominate Mary Jo. Mary Kay.
Joe K.
Joe Kay, Mary Jo Kay.
Joe Kay.
Yeah.
Question. Let me make sure I've got the right one. I went to Beaufort this weekend, and I tried to find this address, 10232 U.S. Highway 17 South, and I did not find it. Huh?
Joe K's address.
Yeah. They've got a P.O. box for Chocowinity, but they also have, I'm assuming where the resident is located at 10232 U.S. Highway 17 South. Vanceboro. And it's about 2 miles from the county line.
You should live in both counties.
No,
Okay.
they're in Craven County.
Okay. I'll pull it, man, since you've done your research.
Well, I mean, I just have,
Since you've done your research.
I mean, I had no idea who the person was, and I just put the GPS, and then there was 5 boxes there, and my wife used to be a rural mail carrier. She got out and looked at the numbers. So.
I just wanted you, Marty Sanders' address, wonder where he lives.
Oh,
I'll pull it.
Okay.
Well, he lives over in,
Pardon?
Are you confident that it's not Beaufort County? Because there are parts of Vanceboro that are in fact Beaufort County.
This address is on US 17,
Right.
so it's not on US 17.
What's not on 17? Because I actually live just off of 17, and the people in front of us, their addresses are US 17.
Yeah, but it's showing that it's past the fire tower.
That's what I was asking. If you
Yeah,
were
it's
confident.
2 miles from where the fire tower is.
Outside of Chocowinity.
It's in Craven County.
Yeah.
Then our apologies, because it should not have been submitted, because the application reads if you're a Beaufort County resident, so I apologize for that.
I'll pull it.
Okay. Ed's pulled it. Well, you're controlling the,
All those in favor for John Rebels to fill that position? All right, thank you.
okay? All right, and then Katie, you got the next one, the voting delegate for
Yes, sir. Last
conferences.
month, we had discussed just sort of making it permanent, what you guys have done generally in the past, that if the chairman were to go to the conference, then they would be the voting delegate. If the chairman doesn't go, it would be the vice president, or vice chairman rather. And then if either of those two do not go, I would bring it back to the board, and you guys could elect one of the people that would be attending a conference.
Okay. Well, this is what we've been doing, but we've been voting every time we go to a meeting.
I think we ought to vote every time we go to a meeting. The reason is chairman may not always be able to go.
Well, it makes it,
Well, both of them may not be able to go.
well, in that time,
Look, you start giving blanket voting authority here, and you're not going to know what's going on. Right now, at least you're having to, I move that we decline the proposal to designate a voter, that we vote on a voter at each time that we need a voter to go to a meeting.
Do we have a second?
Yeah.
Okay, we got a second. All those in favor of his motion, which basically scraps this, raise your right hand. Those opposed? All right, need a motion to,
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second to follow the recommendations that are here. Raise your right hand. Those opposed? Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
if it's in order, can I get a personal privilege?
Yes, you sure can, Brian.
So I didn't put this in the agenda, but just wanted to advise the board. So this is the start of my 11th year with the board. In fact, we're three meetings into my 11th year. At the end of this fiscal year, June 30th of 26, I'll have in excess of 30 years in the local government retirement system. And it's my intent at that time to retire from the local government system. You may be asking yourself why I'm telling you this now, because it's September of 25, but it's September of 25. You will have 9 meetings after tonight, 9 regular meetings after tonight that we'll be together. Hiring a county manager, recruiting a county manager, and hiring a county manager is one of the most important things this board does. You need time to be able to do that. You are currently involved with Board of Equalization and Review. You got a lot going on. We roll over into the first of the new year. We'll be in budget. This board needs to be able to have some time to be able to go through that process, to do its due diligence, so that you don't have to have an interim like you did last time. An interim causes the staff to go through a transition twice. They don't need to do that. So I wanted to give you enough time to be able to go ahead and do that. It's been a pleasure to work for the board and the citizens of Beaufort County, but it's time for me to move on.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate your years of service. Look forward to the continued months. And it is, I can tell you that it's the most important decision we have to make. And going through an interim manager, I advise the board, or hope the board does not have to go through that. So we'll put it on the agenda and be thinking about, if we want to proceed with maybe the state association being our guide through the process on searching.
And they will certainly do that. They certainly provide those services, and I'll be glad to help you with that.
Okay. All right. Okay, the next item is mine. As you well know, we had this 19 counties that got together on Morehead City. Basically, it is a public body. It's going to operate as a public body. There is no paid lobbyist. They're not asking for any kind of membership fees, or any money from any of the counties, other than the fact that they're trying to have this coalition in effect to be able to address additional regulatory issues that pop up as it relates to the seafood industry that affects our commercial fishermen. We do need action in order for us to continue to participate, and I'll make that motion that we join the North Carolina Coastal Counties Fisheries Coalition. Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you.
One question. Look at this thing, this page here that says Coastal County ranked by seafood landings, and then it has pounds and value. Pender County has $2 million in value, but unless I can't see straight, it's not listed under pounds landed.
this information is provided, I guess, through some of the trade organizations or one of the state agencies. If you have a process, and I'm assuming that most of this information comes from the fish house when they show up. So you would expect somebody like Juan Cheese that has a lot of trawlers, and Juan Cheese being in Dare County, that would be one of the reasons. But to my knowledge, that's where they turn it in at, or where they get the information on the pines.
Pender just got left off the list, I guess.
Well, so did Quinn.
I mean, that, maybe we need a staff with this new.
Okay, gentlemen, just remember now, this is coalition. Now that we joined, we need to appoint someone to attend the meetings.
You can attend. I'll make a motion, Frank Waters attend.
Okay, got a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor, raise your right hand.
You didn't vote for yourself?
Yeah. All right. Is that good enough, Katie? Or maybe I should ask Amanda if that's good enough. All right.
Do they pay you in shrimp?
No. And they meet after lunch, so I mean you had to furnish your own lunch. Okay, we're down to Tandy. You want to talk to us about the occupancy tax discussion? Sure. Well, it's been brought before the commissioners before, passed, did not pass, and I've been approached again. Currently, there are 92 other counties in the state that have occupancy tax. The city of Washington already has one. Belhaven, Bath, and Aurora, all three support an occupancy tax. I tried to do some studying, talked to Airbnb and VMBO. From what I can find is they already charge the tax for our Airbnb homes or cabins in the county. We're just not getting the money. No idea where the money is going. Can't determine whether they're keeping it or what. Don't believe the state's getting it. Airbnb says, hey, you know, if you have a property that's listed with us, you can go into your setting and unclick it, and we won't charge it no more. But they kind of hide it. It's kind of hard to figure it out. I don't know. But tourism occupancy tax can be used for tourism items. You would have a tourism authority, and they would do things like promote the county. And then you could have another subsection that the money could be used for things like a boat ramp, greenways, athletic field, lighting. You know, we always have every year, Bath will come to us, Chocowindy will come to us, want money to put lights on the athletic fields. Well, this money can be used for those processes if we get enough of that money. And now there is some work that has to be done, and I believe that there is some money that can be cut off the top of the occupancy tax that goes to the county to manage the accounting purposes of this. So, you know, the county could get some money to maintain or manage this. The big thing is, I don't like taxes. Some of my other commissioners don't like taxes, and they'll probably not vote against us. But it does not cost county residents nothing. You know, and if you go to another county in the state, you're already paying the occupancy tax to stay there. You go to Dare County, you're paying occupancy tax. You go to Wake County, you're paying occupancy tax. You go to Asheville, you're paying occupancy tax. Like I said, there's only 8 counties now that don't have an occupancy tax. And what I'm asking is to allow the Magellan Group to come in here and make a presentation about it. Now, originally they had scheduled October the 6th. They have a conflict. Now I would like to ask if they can come in on November the 3rd board meeting to make a 15-minute presentation to the board. So I'd like to make a motion to allow the Magellan Group to come on November 3rd for a commissioner meeting, make a presentation about occupancy tax in the county.
I'll second that. Any discussion?
I got a question, just a question.
Yes.
And the questions I have, and Mr. Manager, maybe you can help me with this. I mean, this came up years and years ago about the occupancy tax, and we deferred that to the city of Washington, somewhere way back, that they still get an occupancy tax for their motels for something. I can't remember what it was. I need to dig and do the research. I don't have a problem with the guy coming to do the presentation, but I also want to know that what the language is that we done with Washington, because it was supposed to be Washington Chocowinity at one time, if memory serves me well. That was before your time, I guess.
I'm sorry I wasn't here, but the legislation is pretty clear. I mean, it has to be a local bill that does that. And essentially, you've got to get the hotel motel lobbyist group to sign off on it because they're pretty powerful. And the language in there, I think you can, I've done it one time when I was in Granville County. We had some language in there that allowed us a certain percentage was for athletic fields and a certain percentage was for advertising. But that all depends upon what the General Assembly is comfortable giving you, and it may come up or down. So, but you got to have a board, and you got to have a whole lot of things. So the Magellan Group will go through all that with you, the explanation of all of it.
All right, Stan?
Yeah. I don't want to invite any more taxes on Beaufort County, and here's the thing I see. We hear that Airbnb is already charging it, or maybe Booking is already charging it. They do not have that power by general statute to do it inside counties. Now, they can do it as they are, by ordinance, forced to do it inside municipalities. But in the counties in North Carolina, unless the county has an ordinance that be charged, that there be a tax charge, they do not have the right to charge those taxes. And the money that goes in up, and they're holding it. And again, these are just a few third-party groups. Not everybody's going to use a third-party group. That they hold that money is not the problem of the individual. It's their problem because they're holding money that's not theirs. So first, I don't want to invite any new taxes into Beaufort County. Secondly, I don't want to become dependent upon a third-party group just because they think it's necessarily their right to charge a tax that shouldn't be charged on a non-taxable area. First of all, the reason I don't want to invite any more taxes into the county, it makes people, vendors who are doing Airbnbs or bed and breakfasts, it makes them less competitive. I mean, if tax is going to be 10, 12, 13%, that's 13, 14%. That's going to be charged more to the person coming there. And you say, well, they don't miss it. Yeah, they do miss it. People are going to become more and more frugal, and those that are becoming frugal, they may decide not to come to their spot because of that 14% extra payment that those people are never going to see. So I don't want to invite any taxes here in Beaufort County, and I don't want to have to see people have to manage that.
Anyone else?
Yeah. The last time we got into this was, I don't know, a long time ago. Ed remembers when it was. And what happened was, after we looked at it, number one, there aren't that many facilities that are in the county. Almost all of the rental units are in municipalities. So we would have to lay a tax on top of the municipalities in order to do this, which is more and more tax. And the other thing that we found out is by the time we created a board to oversee this and hired another individual to audit and collect the money and hired an executive director to decide how to spend the money. You know, one of the things that the city of Washington does with the money they get for this is they put up a $3,000 billboard outside of town that says, "Visit Washington." Come on. And this is another one of those things, when you start creating these boards and commissions can go anywhere, and they suddenly try to become all-powerful, and the county commissioners have got another problem of answering for something that somebody is doing to the public that the commissioners aren't doing. So I'm not going to support it. It doesn't matter what they come and say. because I already know that it's going to cost us money to do it.
Well, the thing, I'm trying to remember, it was somewhere around 2015. It was about the time that I became a commissioner. Some of the work had already been done, and you're absolutely right. At the time, if I remember, it was like $20-some thousand worth of revenue, and administrative costs was going to eat it up. What has changed since then is that we, in the Bath and the Belhaven area, and it's happening on the south side of the river too, we're seeing more and more people that have waterfront homes, and even homes within like the town of Belhaven that are renting it. And they're the ones that are pushing me, and they're pushing people like Tandy. And these are people that are affected. I mean, they understand that, they understand it better, and maybe this group is coming in will be able to explain it a little bit more. But if you talk to them, they say that the money is being paid by the person, and it's going to the franchise, the national headquarters. And once it goes to the national headquarters, nobody knows what happens to it.
I think that's called fraud.
Well,
where I'm from, that's fraud. If you're collecting a tax and you're not authorized to collect a tax, that's called fraud.
Well, we're not looking for a way to try to take them to court. What we're doing is trying to find a way that we can say then that you've got to send it to a to this authority in Beaufort County. And I'm assuming it's based on zip code. And that's what happens with the hotels and everything in the city of Washington, is the money flows to them. It flows to the state, if I understand it correctly, and then the state sends the money to the authority.
No, this is a local tax, and the state treasurer doesn't collect local taxes. He collects statewide taxes. It is up to the county to audit and enforce, and the vendor sends the money directly to the county.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but anyway, I think
it's right there on the site. May I suggest that you pull up the tax collection site? I've got the information right here. I printed it out this morning somewhere, and it says that. And he's very clear about saying the North Carolina Treasurer. Get on the North Carolina Treasurer's website and see what he says. He says, we don't collect it.
Okay.
Very plainly.
Even for the authorities that are already in existence.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Anybody else before we take a vote? Yes.
Say something.
I got something for Tandy. Tandy, I'll support what you're trying to do here, but there's a sentence in here that I will not support. And I don't want to discuss a letter that was sent to nobody else. We don't have nothing to do with that. We want to help the people that ask you to do this. Now, this guy coming in and discussing a letter that was sent to El Hotel.
That's the next thing.
Well, it's on this one here too, but anyway, I'll support.
No, it's another item.
Okay, go ahead.
Next page.
Yeah.
I'm on the wrong one.
Okay. One more comment.
Somebody's got
Hood.
Oh, I'll try.
Ed.
Okay, you made mention that it was the town of Bath, Belhaven was having a problem. Bath may be having a problem. They are a corporate municipality. They can form their own ordinance to collect this money, and then they can do with it what they wish. We represent the people outside of these corporate municipalities, and we represent the people inside the corporate municipalities, but not to the extent of overtaxing them. So I think it would be incumbent upon us to think this through very, very deeply before we put people outside of these corporate municipalities who don't want to be brought into this jurisdiction of having to give up their ability to deal on a regular basis and a competent, competitive basis with other people in other parts of the nation. Hood's right. It's fraud. It's fraud if they are collecting money and keeping it at the corporate office and nobody gets it. And fraud needs to be stopped in government and in business in this nation, because nobody knows where the lines are drawn anymore on what's fair and what's not fair, what's law and what's not law. And I will submit to you, there's a whole different Justice Department up there right now. And this is the kind of thing FBI does because it's crossing state lines.
Right, right.
So you never know. The FBI may stop worrying about J6 and start worrying about fraud again. So this would be a good thing.
Okay.
Aren't we just voting to have this group come in?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, okay. All right, all those in favor of the motion to invite the Magellan Group to come in on November the 3rd, raise your right hand. Those opposed? All right, gentlemen, we're going to move to the next item, and Tandy, that's yours, the inspection of hotels, bed and breakfast locations. Tandy?
Thank you, Mr. Harris, for coming in.
Yes, sir.
So, I watched a City of Washington thing the other week, and so I have some questions about what I heard there, just to clarify some issues. Did the City of Washington approach or ask the Health Department to inspect or send a letter to the L Hotel?
No, sir.
Is the Health Department conducting all required state inspections of bed and breakfast locations, hotels, and motels in the county?
Yes, sir. Our permitted regulated establishments, we have 11 hotels in the county and 3 bed and breakfasts, which only 2 are currently operating.
Okay. Has the Health Department attempted to work with the City of Washington on inspections in the past to clarify requirements for businesses and homeowners?
Absolutely.
Okay. All I wanted to do is to clarify that we're staying out of it and we're doing everything what we're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely.
Without any other input.
No, sir.
I have nothing else.
I do have a question, just for my clarification. Say the City of Washington has a zoning ordinance, okay? Do they make routine checks with you? Are they in compliance? Are they in compliance? And do you follow that up when they do that?
No, not really. It's kind of
unusual for them to do that.
Well, if you flip the script with us, I mean, if you come to us and I think the biggest thing you need to know up front is what constitutes regulation by us. And
Yeah.
a lot of things are exempt. And I know you guys have heard all these things about 5 rooms, 4 rooms. Yes, if you're less than 5 rooms, you are exempt. You are not regulated by us. Now, if you serve food, such as a bed and breakfast, then you are regulated by us, regardless of the amount of rooms. If you rent rooms for a week or longer, that is called a regular boarder. We do not regulate that as well. So as long as you meet our requirements, our permit, our staff are authorized agents of the Department of Health and Human Services. If you meet our criteria, we're going to issue you a permit. Now, it's up to whatever body that doesn't want them to operate. That's up to them whether they let them operate or not.
And your regulations are by general statute.
Right, ours is straight from
Not by
general.
a city ordinance.
Right, that's straight from general statute.
You're not beholden to a city. You're beholden to the government.
Right, the state,
North
right,
Carolina,
there's their
the
state
county
laws and
government,
rules.
Which is a body politic of the state of North Carolina.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate you coming in. Sorry I had to stay late. You can come in 5 minutes late tomorrow.
That's right.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You finished, Tandy? All right, Hood, you're up.
Okay, the first item here is on talking about the Winston-Salem Forsyth School District's $46 million shortfall. I don't know whether you've been following or not, but the City of Winston-Salem Forsyth Combined School District came up with what some people estimate is a $70 million shortfall, but the State Board of Education says it's a $46 million shortfall. It got so bad that they couldn't write checks to pay the bills. The state of North Carolina DPI apparently gave them money. I didn't know you could get money out of them like that. But now DPI, according to recent news articles, is chasing them to get their money and telling them that they have to pay them back, and they've put an interest rate on it at the DPI board meeting this past week or so. But what happened in that school district is total mismanagement, where the school system did not cut back when COVID ended. They for some reason, there's bonuses in the school system, and they gave bonuses to employees, and we need to find out ourselves how much bonus the Beaufort County school system is giving and what they're giving it for. But they gave bonuses, and they continued to give bonuses. They continued to give raises, even in the face of not having the budgeted money to do this, operating totally outside of their budget. So this is wound up with the superintendent resigned earlier this year, along with the finance officer retired, but the game still goes on, and quite frankly, it looks to me like what they have is management that is absolutely clueless about what it's supposed to be doing. So, the question is, could that happen in Beaufort County? And the answer is yes. And here's the reason it could happen in Beaufort County. And it's because we're doing the same things the Beaufort County Board of County Commissioners were doing. We are refusing to ask for the right information. We're refusing to get an audit of the school board. Oh, and this board probably didn't know this because it's never come up before. There's a recommended amount of fund balance that the school board is supposed to have based upon DPI's recommendation. Does anybody know what that is? It's been set for Beaufort County. No, we don't. We are clueless. We do not ask for audits. We do not ask for how money is spent. We do not look to see what their fund balance is, and we do not look to see whether they're operating inside their budget by requiring the school board to give us their audits every year. So yes, this could happen in Beaufort County, and it's because our board is acting just like the city of Winston-Salem Forsyth School Board, and that is not doing your job. That particular school system has 56,000 students. It is a large school system. It's 10 times larger than Beaufort County. So I'll just alert you guys right now. We need to take a look at what we are doing and how we're handling the school board and this business that we've been doing for the last 10 years or so of dumping the money and running and saying they can spend it however they want to does not work, and it's not going to work in the long run. The truth of the matter is we don't know how they're spending the money that we collect using the police power of the state from our citizens. So we need to be more responsible to our electorate than what we are. If anybody has any comments.
Yes, sir. If you remember, it's been 4 to 5 years ago, I started looking at the operate money that we were sending to the school system and looking at the number of students they had, and we started trying to do the same thing that the state does, that the state sends X number of dollars down here to Beaufort County based on the school enrollment. And so for the last 4 years, and this last one that we just approved, budget, we basically have looked at that, and we've adjusted and increased the amount on a per student basis by about 3% a year. So we are tracking it, and I'm saying as the student population comes down, we're not going to give you the same amount of money that you got last year. So the operating money that they've got has I know for 4 years, the last number that I had, we increased it, was it 18%? And so it was between 3 and 4%. So we are looking at it a little bit different. The other thing is that I think, and I don't know who came up with this, but Anita sends the school system money on a monthly basis. So we don't send it. And I asked her when I saw it was on the agenda, I said, being an old banker, let me ask you a question. And she said, what's that? I said, does the school system ever call you up and say, I need the money. I need my money a week in advance? And because that's a signal that they're having financial problems. So we've not had that. And I don't know who came up with that policy, but that's a good policy to take the budget and send it to the school system on a monthly basis. And I really feel like that, we've come up with a system that's fair, and I don't think they can argue with that. I mean, everybody wants more money, but if the enrollment goes down, you can't send the same amount of money. I mean, everybody's faced with inflation, so we're trying to adjust for inflation, but we're still looking at the enrollment, so much per student.
Yeah, I'd just like to see a copy of their annual audit, and I would like to see their fund balance presented as a fund balance, which they never do. And I asked for a lot of information on the last 2 or 3 budgets, and I've never gotten it, mainly because the superintendent just ignores you and goes on and does what he wants to do. And I can assure you when that comes up this year, we're going to have a different ball game than what we have had in the past, because I'm going to get the information that we need to see what's really going on in the school system. While I agree with what you said, Mr. Chairman, I still don't think we're doing enough.
I'd like to do. We're going to have a situation happening over the next decade with school choice, where there's going to be money needing to go to all different groups of people going to different schools because they have the right to choose to do so. So the whole idea that public schools need to have a large cache of money because public schools are the only way to educate children, well, that whole concept is going away, if it hasn't gone away already. And that's partly the reason why the school population has dipped so precipitously over the last number of years. When I became a commissioner, there was 7,200 students in the public schools. Now there's around 5,500. And that's going to be the way of things until they straighten out the way they educate children there and do a better job. So they better be ready.
Okay.
Scores are up. And, this is just another case of Mr. Richardson taking a bad story from somewhere in the world and crowbarring it into Beaufort County. The state auditor has also on the, he's looking about some numbers about the Battleship North Carolina. I can't wait to hear how Mr. Richardson compares the Battleship North Carolina to something in Beaufort County.
Okay, we're down to poor service at the ECU Health Emergency Room.
Okay, look, the last time this was brought up, I think Commissioner Langley is on a board over there, and he was going to give us a report on this.
Okay, I had a talk with the staff, and first of all, the first question I asked was the answer to where you said someone was waiting in the ED department and they died. That's not true. That is not true, and I asked them, and they specifically said no. Basically, people who pass in the ER most time are on their way out when they get to the ER, but there's nobody who just sits around in the ER and are unattended, because once they first check in, they go into triage, and right from triage, whatever kind of assistance they needed, it begins then. And when you look at the ER as a whole, you have to look at the lobby as well as behind the closed doors as far as who's being treated for what. If you're like me, my mother is old and I'm in and out of the ER a whole lot. And a lot of times you will see people with blood pressure cups on and all these different things where they are being treated. But they have, I'll give you this example. If you went in today and you said, I have pain, one of the first questions they would ask you is, where's the pain? And on a scale of 1 to 10 or a scale of 1 to 5, how intense is your pain? And they will begin working with you based upon that. And what I want to say is ECU Health in our region sees 1.4 million residents. And as far as the Beaufort Emergency Department, since Martin General closed, they are seeing an uptick of 120 patients per month. And being in the emergency business, you can't plan for it. There's no way in this world that you can plan. You can be having a perfect evening. Let me show you this analogy. It's like if at a fast food restaurant, everything is fine. They're getting the orders in and they're getting the orders out, and then all of a sudden a bus comes, and that throws everything off balance. And one of the things that we also have to realize is whether you have Washington County, Chowan County, Terrell, Hyde, all of those can be in transit to ECU Health, the main building. But if their situation gets worse, then they are stopping right at our ED. So it is a constant motion in the ER. You got to think about this. In rural health care, worsening chronic conditions, increased capacity level, staffing shortfalls, and long wait time. And when I say staffing shortfalls, I'm not saying they're not staffed with everybody they need. What I'm saying is they can't have 2 or 3 of a lot of things. I mean, you will find that in just about any work environment. How can you plan for sickness? How can you plan for emergencies? But I will show you this. I have some other things here, but the Facebook page from our ED, I'll read this one. I want to post an appreciation post to the nurse and doctor who I saw in the Washington ER this morning, 7/19/25. Everyone in the ER was nice. The triage nurse took me back, saw what was wrong, and she acted immediately and had the doctor in there and got me in the back fast. I was in a lot of pain. They worked quickly. It was the fastest I've ever been to the back. So if anyone knows the tragedy nurse with the long burgundy hair at the Washington Hospital and the doctor who was on at 11:45 shift this morning, please thank them for me. As mothers, we sometimes put ourselves last. I couldn't wait to tell the doctors on Monday about my experience. Thank you, ECU Emergency Washington. Then it has the lady's name, and there's 2 others that I have here. But basically what I'm saying is they prioritize everything that they do. There are a lot of people who don't have health insurance, and the ED is one of those places that if you go, they have to see you. And one of the other things you have to realize, a lot of people who come to the ED, it's not really an emergency. And I want to say that there is a virtual line, www.ecuhealth.virtual-care/ that you can call into and get treatment and get care. And the actual cost is $50. $50, but most people with insurance, their insurance will pay the deductible, but that will save you wait times in the ED department. One of the problems that the ED has to do is how do you separate emergencies from non-emergencies? Anybody who comes into that ED, they have to see them. They have to see them. So if you come in because you cut your finger, but somebody needs to go through stroke protocol or heart attack protocol, that's going to get all the attention. So if you have to sit there for a number of hours, that should be understandable. I have sat in that ER 6 hours with my mother. So I know what it's like in there. And the whole time that, once she gets in the back, I'm one of those people, I watch everything. I don't talk a lot, I watch a lot. And the thing that I do is I watch how they operate. And I'm telling you, there's nobody in there having a Coke and a smile. Everybody is doing their job. So how effective you want to say the ED is? They have some good ratings, and I want to pull this. I want to show you this, which I found very interesting. All right, they have a Stroke Gold Plus with the target of type 2 diabetes, and they're on the honor roll for that. Rural Stroke Gold. They have a gold. If you're looking at the gold, silver, and bronze, I should have said that in the beginning. They have a gold ranking as far as treating strokes. Coronary artery disease, they have a bronze. Resuscitation, bronze. Rural coronary artery disease, gold. So they are quite effective as to what they do. And I can promise you, no person in the healthcare industry would ever sit around and allow someone who is in a critical state to just be left all alone. That is not happening at our ED. And I want everybody to understand, when you go to the emergency department, and for those who have been, you will attest to, they are Johnny on the spot. If you are in acute pain, they will be right there with you, and they will do what needs to be done.
Okay, well, yeah, well, I appreciate that. Nature of the complaints was the length of time that they had to stay there, some of them 6 and 8 hours like you were talking about. So do you think that the opening of Martin General is going to take some of the load off us?
I think so. I think so, and I want to say this: if you think the ED department and Beaufort is bad, go to Pitt, go to Greenville, and you will see it entirely different. Because especially in the ED, you will find people who say they're 12 hours, 14 hours before they can actually go into the back. This is a nationwide problem. And I don't know if it's ever going to get better. But I think one of the driving engines is because when you go to the ED, whether you have insurance or whether you don't have any money, they have got to see you. And a lot of times, as I stated earlier, people who come, they really don't have an emergency. Or either they've waited until
6 hours.
real emergency. Yeah. And then they show up. And the last thing I would say is, just because EMS brings you in does not automatically put you at the front of the line. So please don't think if you call 911 and EMS carries you to the ED that you're going to get in front of everybody else who's already been sitting there. But I'm telling you, the protocol is the same. They will do the most acute things first and work their way down. They will triage and they will assist you and make sure that you're in good shape, that you can make it until they can get to you. But nobody is just left unattended. That's the most important thing I want everybody to understand, is nobody is left unattended.
Brian?
I was just going to take you back one when you finish with that, please.
Okay. Saturday night a week ago, the chairman was in Washington in the parking lot, and he stepped off the curb, and the first thing to hit and only thing to hit was his face. Everybody, it was behind the Mulberry. There was probably 10 people that surrounded me pretty fast. Everybody wanted to call 911. Everybody thought I was knocked out. I was bleeding a lot. But you know, if you get hit on your head anywhere, and I had about 5 spots that were bleeding. And my daughter, we were meeting my daughter and husband for dinner. And I was insisted that I go to the emergency room. So I went with my wife. We were there for 3 hours. And the first thing I'll tell you is that when we went back immediately, and the nurse checks my vitals, made sure everything, basically what was wrong with me. And within about 15 minutes, there was a lady that came in. I say a lady, it was a young lady with a wheelchair, and she put me in the wheelchair, and she took me back, did a CT scan of my neck and my head. We went back. So all of that happened, but what I observed is just like you were saying, in that waiting room, I thought I was probably the worst. I know I was the worst looking person in there, because Kathy kept running and getting stuff out of the bathroom so I could wipe the blood off. So I think you're absolutely right. And so I thought to myself, Kathy, go to my truck and get my smartphone, and I'm going to look it up on my chart, or she did. And she read it to me. I didn't have anything broken. That was at 10 o'clock. Been in there 3 hours. Nothing was broken. That was the only reason that I went, at the advice of my health care provider, my wife. So I went to the front desk and I signed a release form and I left. They do. They put you in different stages. And when I got ready to sign a release form, she says, we do have some chairs in the, all the rooms are full back here, but we do have chairs. I can move you closer. And I said, ma'am, no. I see that nothing's broken, so I signed a release form and I went home. But all you got to do is go spend on a Saturday night 2 or 3 hours and you can see what goes on. It's still being used by a lot of people as a doctor's office. But what I don't understand is East Carolina's facility right behind the hospital, I still call it Pamlico Internal Medicine, is a walk-in clinic on Saturday and Sunday both. Why we can't educate and get our people to go in. One person in that emergency room Saturday night wanted a COVID shot or test. I guess it was maybe a COVID test. I mean, we still got to do some educational stuff to try to get some of the people out of there. But I can rest you assured, I didn't see anybody sitting out there that was on the verge of dying.
I have one thing to say. Whether by general statutes or national codes or whatever, there's a lot of low-hanging fruit in correcting the medical industry. A whole lot of low-hanging fruit. Hearing you guys talk, a lot of low-hanging fruit.
Okay. Is that
Yeah, take
good?
care of that for me.
Okay.
Okay, you want to go to the next item?
The next item is enjoyment fraud charges. Last time I keep asking questions about this, and nobody has answers. So during the last week or two, I put a fair amount of time in trying to figure out what's going on. And supposedly, when things are filed in a court case, now it goes on the computer, and you can sit in your office and you can get online and you can see what the status of that case is and what's been filed and all that sort of thing. Well, we've got a case of fraud, more than $500,000 known, out there, and involving government money. And when you get online to try to see what's going on, what you find out is there's less information from the online version of the case than there was when I could go to the courthouse and ask for the file and go through the file. And so this makes me suspicious on a 3-year lawsuit when the plaintiff has requested discovery and over a year ago, and you go and look at the file and there's no discovery in the file. There's no filings, there's no pleadings, there's nothing in the file. This makes me very suspicious that we've got a case that's going to be settled somewhat secretly, and the public will never know all the details and never really know what happened, because they settle a lot of those things by requiring that everybody not divulge the amount of the settlement. So I talked to the district attorney, as the county attorney suggested, and he said, I can't tell you anything. So there we are. You have got what is a very suspicious looking case that's set up there that looks like it might be settled in the back room somehow or another, where government money has been stolen, going on 3 years, which is far too long for a case like this to go on. And the public should be alert, and the public should be aware there's hanky-panky going on with this case. So be sure and talk to the attorneys that are involved in this, and be sure and talk to the district attorney that's involved in this. You can't talk to the judge. I don't know who he is, but it wouldn't matter if you did. You still shouldn't talk to him. But certainly the district attorney and everybody else, to see what's going on this, to see if they're going to get away with taking the money, the public's funds, because the case has gone on too long and there are no filings. That's your first suspicion that something fishy is going on. So be aware of that. And that's all I wanted to tell you tonight with this. Be aware something fishy is going on.
And I just want to say one thing real quickly. It's not a plaintiff in this case. It's the state of North Carolina versus
Joy.
Well, did I say the plaintiff?
Yeah.
Well, the defendant, I'm sorry, I misspoke. You're correct. The defendant requested discovery. Nobody else has requested discovery. So what is going on in this thing? Of course, the district attorney, I'm aware, has the SBI reports, and I'm asking him, why haven't these things been filed as a part of the case in the file? I can't answer that. I can't tell you that. So on and on this thing goes. It's looking fishier and fishier. So the public needs to be aware. And probably the only thing that's going to clean it up is for the public to put pressure on the various parties that are involved in this to get the thing done. Because we've had far too much stealing in Beaufort County of public funds. We've had a couple of fire departments that we know of in the last few years. We have this thing over there, and there's probably some more going on that we don't even know about. Because I've had complaints about what goes on in Chocowinity for about 10 years now. People having a job and never showing up for work. All kinds of things like this. This board has refused to investigate that. The other thing that we are doing, and then I'll get off of this topic, is we don't require the various agencies, public agencies, like fire departments and EMS units, to submit audit reports to us. And the excuse that was given was they were too expensive to do. But what you will find if you look at these entities is that they are paying an accountant and a bookkeeper several $1,000s a year to do their books. So the audit information is there. It's just a matter of filing it. And I think we should go back to requiring these audits, because while a government audit is the most useless thing that I know of, it still does something. It keeps people awake and it keeps them at the switch. So let's just consider all that. Does anybody have anything they want to add, subtract to this?
You want to go to your next item?
The next item is homeless and disadvantaged being imported into Beaufort County. I really don't know what to say about this other than what's been in the newspaper, and that is we need to be alert if this is going on. Some of it I don't have a problem with if we're using our motels and hotels that aren't being used to house people temporarily while ICE or the various mental health organizations get them back on their feet again. But we need to be alert to what's going on because there has been an effort to move people in. And I don't really have a problem with it if it's done properly. And that's all that I had to say on that. The $20,000 for the alternative sentencing court, we've covered that. We beat that pretty much to death. We're going to leave that one alone. So I'm done.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, real quick, just to back up if we could to the Forsyth County School District discussion to try to give the board some real-time information. If you'll go to the Beaufort County Schools website, home, go to departments, finance, and financial audits. You'll find their financial audits going back to 2017, fiscal year 2017. The latest fiscal audit they have out there is 2024, which is the latest one anybody has. It was done by Mars, and their unassigned fund balance was $1,119,984.
Well, appreciate that information, but my point is the commissioner should be taking this up as a part of the budget process, and this information should be presented to us because it's not up to us to have to dig for it.
Okay, we're down to closed session. Katie, do you want to read us into the closed session?
Sure. A motion is needed to go into closed session under property acquisition to establish or to instruct the public body, staff, or negotiation agent concerning the position to be taken by or on behalf of the public body in negotiating the price and other material terms of a contract or proposed contract for the acquisition of real property by purchase, option, exchange, or lease.
So moved.
Okay, got a motion to go in closed session. Do I have a second? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. Okay, we're coming back out of closed session. I need a motion to come out of closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. Is there any commissioner, wait a minute, any commissioner that wants to make a comment?
I would. The last few meetings, commissioners and audience at home watching, I've had to stand at these meetings. I just want to explain it all to you and you. I cannot sit. I have a way of sitting at home where I can keep my legs parallel with my hind parts, and I'm fine. Can't do that here. So I stand at these meetings, and that's the way it's going to have to be till I have an operation on the 25th, and I'll be back hopefully on the 6th if I can. If I can, I'll miss that meeting. If we can patch me in, that'd be great. But we'll see what happens.
Surgery goes well.
Thank you. Thank you. It's rudimentary. They're going to put a titanium rod in my femur and bolt it in some way to a socket into my hip, and hopefully I'll be fine.
Go to your brain, you'll be all right.
Sometimes my brain's kind of close to there.
I got some comments.
All right.
That's it.
Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand.